Hi guys, I wasn't sure which way I had to set this up here. So it looks like my comments are the right way. I'm hoping that I am not upside down. We'll see. It looks like we've got a couple people on watching, so hopefully they'll let me know if I happen to be sideways. So welcome back to another Colorful Keto with Dory. Today I want to talk to you guys about bariatrics and the ketogenic diet. So I myself had a bariatric surgery just about 7 years ago. Now, when I had my original weight loss surgery, I did lose 130 pounds. My surgery was very successful. I did not have issues that arose from my surgery. I had a gastric sleeve placation. Now, what I'm going to say to you guys is, like a lot of people who have had a bariatric surgery, due to a stressful time in my life, I started to regain weight. Now, I did only gain back 20 pounds, but I will honestly say that regaining that 20 pounds, I think it was harder for me than 100. It was almost more difficult for me because I had lost that weight. I had gone through the process. I had started my journey, and then again, due to emotional issues, my mother passed away. I hadn't learned to eat properly. And that was the basis of why I needed to go that next step past my surgery. Now, I want to be clear that I always knew, I was always aware in the beginning that surgery was not a magic answer. Having surgery was not going to take me from 290 pounds to Barbie doll and everything was going to be fantastic. But for me, it was a starting point. I was at a point in my life where I was so unhealthy, so unfit, so unhappy, and I was in so much pain that I needed to do something to change my life. So I made the choice to have a gastric surgery. And it wasn't an easy decision to make. It was a really difficult decision. It was something that I tossed back and forth for multiple years. And everyone had an opinion. Everyone had a very strong opinion about what I did with my body. Some of them were positive, some of them were not so positive. But I did learn that everyone felt that they got to have a 2 cents in what I was doing with my body and my personal health. So I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about that. You know, what happens once you get past that, once you've made the decision to have the surgery, you know, good, bad, or otherwise, for the people who support you and for the people who don't. When you make that decision for you, I want to say I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you for making that decision for you. It was a very difficult decision for me. And a lot of people who were in my life were not supportive and, you know, found their way out of my life, which is often how things happen when you're on a journey. Not everyone is going to walk your path with you. So I want to talk about after I regained the weight and what happened then, because I gained 20 pounds and I carried that 20 pounds for a full calendar year, the 20 pounds that I regained. And at the end of that year, I was frustrated. I was upset with myself. I really wanted to re-lose that 20 pounds. Now, at that point, a girlfriend of mine wanted to try the new latest keto shake. She'd heard about it. It was awesome. You know, she'd heard a lot of advertisements, seen a lot of good results, and she wanted to try it. So I thought, well, you know what? I've got 20 pounds to lose. It says you can lose 20 pounds in 2 weeks. So I'll buy a 2-week supply. We split a 1-month supply and we decided we would try this keto shake thing. You know, why not? I tried everything else. You know, I had regained the weight and I needed to lose that. So we bought the shake and it arrived. And the day that the shake arrived, I got a call from my girlfriend, who, by the way, is my researcher. She is the queen of that. She's got to know every bit of information about everything. And she called me that day all excited. Oh my God, Dory. I was Googling the best way to make use of this shake, and there's a whole diet. There's a whole diet. And she was all excited. She was beside herself. She was all yay. And I was mad. I was mad. I was mad like nobody's business because I never said diet. Girl, I never said diet to you. I don't know who you think you are. You've known me for 13 years. I don't know who you think you are saying the D word to me. Because you certainly should know better. And I wasn't very pleasant about it. I won't lie. I swore at her face. Which is not nice to do. Don't swear at your friends. I don't recommend that. But at the end of our conversation, she made me agree to watch a video. And she was like, Dory, you have to promise. Because it's 29 minutes long. It's a long watch. I need you to watch it. I need you to promise me you're going to watch it. And so I promised. But I won't lie. I had no good intentions when I promised to watch the video. Like, zero good intentions. I already was angry. I was mad that she wanted me to go on a diet. I was mad that she had the audacity to say the D word to me. I was mad that she made me promise to watch a video that I didn't want to watch. But I promised. So I set about watching the video. And I had my phone ready, and I was ready to push play, and I was looking at it, and I won't lie, I was thinking, that's right, diet guy, I don't like your face. I don't like you. I already don't like you before I pushed play. So I had already decided that it wasn't something that I wanted. It wasn't something for me. But I started watching the video. And it started off bad. It was bad. It started off with bulletproof coffee. And I thought, ew, butter and coffee? If I hadn't promised to watch you, dude, I'd turn you off. But I promised. I promised I would watch the whole thing. So I started watching it. He continued to talk about, all things keto, the food and whatnot. And then something magical happened. He said bacon. And I was like, hey, Big Daddy, tell me more about this bacon that you speak of. And then he started talking about all the other foods I love, high-fat cheeses, high-fat sour cream, all of the foods that I really, really love. And when I finished watching the video, I decided, you know what, meh, that doesn't actually sound so bad. It kind of does sound different from the average diet that I failed at for 13 years over and over and over and over and over. Because if you've ever felt that sting of failure, it's better if you just repeat it over and over and over and over so that you can remind yourself next time, how you're already a big fat failure and you're probably not going to succeed. And that is the mindset that I came to keto with. I wasn't prepared to succeed. I wasn't looking for a diet. I didn't think it was for me. I just needed to lose 20 pounds. I didn't need a diet. I just needed to lose 20 pounds. I needed to take a shake, or I needed to take a pill, or I needed the latest supplement that was going to allow me to lose that 20 pounds. Because in my mind, that 20 pounds was the problem. It wasn't that I was unhealthy. It wasn't, that I was still inflamed and sick and in pain all of the time. It was just that 20 pounds. It's really all that mattered. As long as I got rid of that, I'd be happy again. So when I found keto diet, it was by mistake. I never intended to, and I fell in love in spite of myself. But along the way, I learned a few things, and I want to share them with you guys, because what I didn't know when I very first started is that it's different for us. We eat differently. Now, I already knew I was different, but I didn't know that how I would apply the ketogenic diet to my life would be different. So I want to talk with you guys a little bit about that in this live. Now, we're going to break it into a couple of different parts, because I don't want to go on, for an hour and talk about this today. So today I want to talk about just the basics of how I found ketogenic diet and how I realized that it was different for me. So when I decided that I wanted to do this and I wanted to start a healthier way of eating, that was my first decision. Right off the bat, I decided it wasn't a diet. It wasn't what I had already failed at over and over and over again. This time, I decided I was going to eat healthy. I was going to make better choices, and it wasn't a diet, because then I lost all of the diet pressure. You know, I didn't have to beat myself up. I didn't have to remind myself that I'd already failed at this over and over, because this was something brand new. This wasn't a diet. This was Dory making a healthy choice. You know, one choice a day. I didn't pressure myself. It didn't have to be everything all at once. I didn't have to learn it all. I didn't have to know it all. I decided I wanted to be healthy, and I jumped right in. That was it. I started Googling low carb, because at that point I knew that ketogenic food was low carb, and I went from there. I started looking for recipes. I started doing research, and then I hit the keto groups because I needed advice, and I didn't really know how to go about getting the advice that I needed. So the first thing I did when I realized that it was a little bit different for me, I set about tracking my macros. Now, if you guys have ever gone online and searched up your macros, it doesn't take a lot of information to get them. It's a very general guideline. They base this on your current age, your current weight, your goal weight, your activity level, your height, and your body fat level, your BMI, your body mass index, is what they base that on. And then Google will spit out for you a list of macros. And macros are macronutrients, and it breaks down to show you what you should eat in a day. So it gives you a base calorie goal. Then it tells you how many of those calories should be from fat, how many should be from protein, and how many should be from carbohydrate. Now, when I did my numbers, because it doesn't take into factor things like bariatric surgery, there was no spot for me to put in there that my stomach is smaller, or that I consume a smaller amount of food, or that my calorie intake is much less than the average person. So for me, it just spit out the average numbers. Now, because I only had 20 pounds to lose, it suggested that I eat 1,600 calories a day. Now, if you're a normal eater, that might not sound startling to you, but to me, it was startling. I knew immediately that I could not physically consume 1,600 calories in a day. That is so much more food than I can eat. And because I didn't know any better, armed with this goal of 1,600 calories, I went to keto support groups, and I said to them, okay, so I can't eat all that food. That is way too much food for me. What happens if I can't eat all that food? And the answer I got was, if you don't eat it all, you won't lose weight. You won't lose weight. And I started to panic, and I thought, but I can't. There's no way I can eat 1,600 calories in a day. I just physically can't. My stomach isn't large enough to be able to accommodate that. So I know that a lot of people at that point, that's the point where they give up. Somebody tells them they need to eat more than they can. They know they physically can't do it, and that's it. So I know that for a lot of people who have had a bariatric surgery, when they start to look into a ketogenic diet, that's fear number one. This can't possibly be for me because it's too much food. And if you ask people what happens if you don't eat all that food, a lot of people will tell you you won't lose weight. And that is not the case. It's just not true, unfortunately. I got a lot of really, really bad information when I first started ketogenic diet. And that is also typical. If you come across a sea of bad information with one teeny little nugget of good information that you want, you're average. You're going about it the way we all went about it, because there is so much contradictory information out there. You know, you'll Google it, and one article will say keto is the best diet, it's great for you, you know, it has everything you need, and then you'll Google again, and the next article will say, you know, it's not safe, it causes this, it causes that, you know, everybody has an opinion. So when you go on to Google, there's a sea of information to wade through. And then what I found was that the limited information that was available for me was very, very small. There's not a lot of information about ketogenic diet with a bariatric surgery. And I don't honestly know if it's just because the research hasn't been done. I don't know if it's because people aren't sharing that part of their journey. I don't know. But I will say that I was leery to talk about it. I was, especially when I went into a diet group where I'm asking people, dog, go lay down right now. Sorry, guys. Where I was asking people for dieting advice. I certainly didn't want to tell them that I had had a bariatric surgery, and I didn't know that that would make a difference. So when I was getting all kinds of bad advice for me, it wasn't on them. It was on me. I didn't know that I needed to share that I'd had a surgery, and I didn't know that it made a difference. So when I started looking for information that was specifically based on me and I wasn't able to find it, I set about tracking my macros in a way that made sense to me. So I did it kind of traditionally backwards. Instead of taking the 1600 goal that Google gave me, I started out with the amount of food that I knew that I could eat. So I kept in mind my percentages, and I started with what I could comfortably eat. Now, I didn't limit myself. I allowed myself as much food as I wanted, so that step one is to track what you're eating. Because number one, once you know what you're eating, you know if you're eating too much, eating not enough, eating too much protein, eating too much carbs. It gives you a base to start from. So once I knew what I was eating, then I got to play with my macros and my numbers. So the things that I already knew about my body, my surgery, how it affected me, was I knew I don't process protein as well as the average person. And I enjoy protein. I eat the same amount of protein I ate when I ate larger portions, but I have a little bit harder time processing it. So right off the bat, I knew that 1600 calories was too much. I knew that 20 to 25% protein was too much for me. So I started by tracking what I ate, and I got a reasonable amount of what I eat. And for me, I find that that is between 900 and 950 calories a day. So what that changes for me personally, and if your amount of food is a drastic difference, what it will change for you is that we need to, with a little bit less protein, have a higher amount of fat. Now, the reason for that is our portions are smaller. I eat what you would feed a toddler. So generally, my entire day's worth of meals would be what an average person would have for a lunch. So to physically get enough food in the right quantity, we need to be able to slightly lower our protein and up our fats. So for me, I adjusted my macros that way. So I consume 80% fat, 14% protein, and 6% carbs. Now, the percentage sounds higher than 5%, but for me, that only averages out to between 12 and 13 carbs a day average. So still well below your 20 gram of carbs that you want to aim for. But mostly, I just wanted to talk to you guys about being honest with yourself, being open with yourself, and not shaming yourself for any part of your story. Because you know what, when I had my surgery, I encountered a lot of that. You know, a lot of people were not positive. A lot of people told me that I took the easy way. And after, when I started to lose weight, they would say things like, oh girl, you're looking good, but it's not like you did that. You had surgery. So there is unfortunately an awful lot of elephant in the room when it surrounds gastric surgeries of all kinds. You know, as the person who had it, we don't want to talk about it because we don't know what the reaction is going to be. But I just want to share with you guys that if this is your journey, if you've had a bariatric surgery and you want to start a ketogenic diet, you can do it. It is for you. You will be successful with this diet. It is definitely what we should be eating. It is so close to my post-surgery diet that it makes me giggle. So I'm going to sign out. I just wanted to do a quick pop in with you guys for 20 minutes. And I just wanted to say hi. I'm Dory. I had a bariatric surgery and now I do the ketogenic diet. And if you want to learn about keto diet, if you want to learn how to eat healthy, if you want to learn what portion sizing didn't teach you, if you want to learn how to choose foods that are good for your body and how to be healthy, then you know what? Comment in the live, shoot me a message, find me on my Facebook support group, My Colorful Keto Buddy Dory, and I hope to see you guys there. And I really hope we can share this journey together. And you know, if I share something that's of value to you and you appreciate it and you know somebody who needs this information, share it with them. Take a moment to subscribe to my YouTube channel and share it for me. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys have an amazing, amazing night. And we'll get together soon to talk about part 2. So I will see you soon. Have a great day, guys. Thank you for joining me today.